Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. This video is going to be a short video, well, relatively short, and it's going to be about the installation of a Titan fuel tank. As some of you may know, I've been planning my trip to Alaska this summer, and pretty much everything I read and people I've talked to online, they have recommended that I have at least a 10-gallon extra fuel with me. So I've been trying to figure out what would be the best way to get that extra fuel tank. And I've had several choices. One of the choice is the one that a lot of people go with, the long-range America tank that gives you a 16-gallon extra tank, 16-gallon extra fuel that mounts under the Jeep. That's a great solution because the weight is low, it's hidden. You pump in gas using the same method. So in that respect, it's really good choice. The only problem is I didn't want to spend about $2,500 or more because in the summer when I talked to the guy, with all the really good discount that he gave me, was coming around that much. So I just didn't want to spend that much money for extra fuel. The other solution that I had was to use Rotopacks. I have two 3-gallon Rotopacks that would give me 6-gallon extra, and then I had another. I'm carrying two jerry cans of water on the side of the Jeep that each hold 5 gallons. So I would take one of them and replace it with a fuel jerry can, which would make 5 and 6, 11 gallons, and that would put me in the green. That was also one option. Then online, somebody suggested the Titan fuel tank, and I looked into it, and it appeared to be a great solution. So I got the tank, I got the JL rear camera bracket, and I got the JL bolts because I guess they are a bit longer than JK. So anyways, so I'm gonna install this. At this point, hopefully it'll work. I'm kind of nebulous about how it's going to be installed, but hopefully that's not gonna be an issue. But also, full disclosure, I've received this tank on a discount basis, but nobody has asked me to say anything. This video is totally voluntary, and everything I say is based on my thought and my opinion, and they're not influenced by anything else. If something is rotten, I'll say it's rotten. I have zero obligation to praise anything about Titan, so hopefully I will praise it, but based on the experience I get. So let's get installed. So today we're going to install the Titan tank, which is supposed to go in the back, right there, in the back of the between the spare tire and the spare tire holder. The first thing we need to do is to remove the spare tire and then work on the tank to put the hardware, attach the hardware to it. So let's get going. So after I remove the spare tire, what I need to find out is how I'm going to mount this Titan tank to the spare tire mount that I already have, and how will the rear view camera work in all this. So let's figure that out. Okay, so the Titan tank comes with these two pieces of metal. The way it's going to work is that this part gets mounted on the tank itself. And then once we have the tank here, this here. So the tank's going to be here. And then once we bolt this in, then we take this item that goes through here and to which the tire will be mounted. Now, one thing we needed to do is this didn't come with, we need to have a hole for the cable to go through. So we marked it about a three-quarter inch hole that we need to make in this piece of metal for the cable to go through, so we can then mount the rear camera. I'm not sure why these are sent for JL Jeeps without the hole. So the first part is to put this piece and bolt it inside the tank. I think it's going to So this is now mounted on this, and the next step is to put it on the spare tire holder. But before that, you need to make sure that the cable is long enough and that goes through the second piece where the tire actually gets mounted to. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, hold up. Okay, get the cord in. Okay, got it in. So now the next step would be to put the bolts through this piece. That's where the tire is going to be mounted. The problem with the material that Titan sent me is that these bolts aren't put through, and the instruction simply says press this through. Now, press this through it's not just pressing this through. You got to actually have a hydraulic press to get this through these holes. Now I understand there are different holes, and so they can't make it all done at this, prepared before sending it to you. So you have to, when you do the installation, you have to take into account that you have to take this to some sort of automotive shop to get this done. Unless you have a hydraulic press or something that can get these through properly. I tried the mallet, it didn't work. It needed actually something to, heavy duty. So I went to a couple of tire shops and they couldn't do it till I went to a automotive place where they do brakes, and they did that for me. So that is part of the installation that you have to take into account. So here you have to kind of try to measure how far this part needs to come out, depending on your tire and the offset you have. Now, I'm gonna have to, I guess, do a trial and error to see what would be the correct distance where I put the tire here for everything to be snug. So we're gonna have to experiment. Before I put the tire on, I need to assemble the rear view camera. So this is part of the camera assembly, that this goes on top of that. Trouble is that these holes are very small, so they just don't go through, so I can do it. I have to kind of screw it in, and they're really small, and it's a T7, Torque 7, and it's really awkward to screw these things through. It's gonna take forever to do this. So, I don't know whether you can see it, but these things don't line up. See, there are 3 holes, and this is the camera. The camera holes matches those 3. But when I put the bezel on top of it, the holes don't match. If I put one hole in there, this guy is going to be all askew. These don't match. So not only it took me forever to put these stupid screws into it, but I can't use it because the holes don't match. And this is what the instruction says to do. Here's the instruction. These are the long screws, the bezel, the camera. You cannot put one after the other, except the holes do not match. So if I put this in there, it's askew. If I put one, if I put this one, it just doesn't, things don't line up. So I'm not gonna be able to use this. So the material also sent me these smaller screws that I would imagine this is the alternative way to mount this, maybe. I have no idea. They fit, so I'm going to use these 3 screws to mount the camera, but now I have to make sure that I can plug it in before I tighten these screws. So here's another issue that I ran into. As I mentioned earlier, I had to get a auto shop, mechanic shop, to press these bolts into this tire holder. Now, when they pressed it, see, one of them is just like a little bit screwed in a way that these don't fit. So I have to go back to the shop and have them straighten this out if they can. That's just the way it is. So I went back to the mechanic and he fixed this. It now fits the tire properly. So that's good. So the tire is good. This part is good. But the part that for the camera, this part, these 2 holes are slightly off. So these still don't fit, and I'm gonna have to drill them a little bigger so they actually fit. It's just slightly off. They just don't go, see? If this one is in, this one is that much off. So I'm gonna have to drill it and make it bigger so they can fit. Okay, well, I used the drill. I drilled this hole, so now it all fits. I put the camera is hooked up, and the last thing that needs to do, I need to put these little braces thing to put them in here so these don't move now. The last part of this installation, it consists of making sure that the anti-static electricity cable is properly connected. When you order the tank, it comes with this cable, and one side is attached to here, and they say that the other side has to be attached to a place where you can guarantee that the static electricity will be discharged. So I went ahead and attached it to the metal tire carrier holder, which is in turn hooked up to the frame with this part. So I think this should work so far as static electricity is concerned. So I think that is going to work. All right, so when you order your tank, the tank comes with this tube, which is in order to pump gas from the tank into the main tank. I filled up the tank. It took about 11.4 gallons. That's where the automatic stop on the gas pump stopped. So it's a little less than 12 gallons. I didn't top off. I just left it the way. So it's about 11.4-ish gallons. So the way it's supposed to work is that you're supposed to insert this part into the tank, wiggle it around, and that kind of causes a vacuum, and then pumps the gas into the main tank. They say it's 2 gallons a minute, so the 12 gallons should last about 6 minutes. I've checked the tank. There are no leaks, so the tank is good. Now they say that this is self-venting, but every time I had opened this, air pressure has come out. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't seem that it's venting. But anyway, so I insert this part into the main tank, insert this part into the real tank. See, you can see that it's flowing. Yeah, see gas is flowing. I'm actually amazed that this is working. Whoever came up with this idea was genius. I think I have to keep doing this. Now it's going up in here. So we just wait till we empty the gas into the main one. Okay, so it took about 5.5, 6 minutes for the gas to empty, and there's some residuals. So just have to make sure it's all clean. All right, so it's a little bit messy, but I would imagine when you're out in the field, it wouldn't matter. In the garage, it's a bit annoying, but it's not that bad. So that's it. That was the installation of the Titan or Titan, however you like to pronounce it. I pronounce it Titan. Titan fuel tank. We went through the entire installation, everything working. So the 12 gallon or 11.4 gallon fuel tank solves my problem of having extra fuel when I go to Alaska this summer. I think it's the most practical and most economical solution to having extra gas. The rotor packs are good, but rotor packs are just 3 gallons, and you have to have like a whole bunch of places to hang it. This is just one place, 12 gallon. And I personally think it's better than the Long Range America, the 16 gallon that hooks up under the Jeep, because first of all, it costs an arm and a leg to have that, and the cost I think is just prohibitive for just a trip. If you're planning on going to Africa or places where you do need that extra gallon, maybe the Long Range America would be make a difference. But for Alaska, I think this is the best solution for me. So if you watched this video and you liked it, press the like button and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Thank you. Until next time.